Today's Wellbeing Wednesday. I want to spend a few minutes and talk about certain aspects of sleep for teenagers. I know many of those listening to these weekly videos ask me questions about their kids, about their teenagers. And one of the biggest things that comes up is asking, how much sleep do my teenagers really need? Why is the fact that they seem to be staying up so late? Why do they always seem so tired? What research shows us is we know that in general, because there's such rapid growth during those years, that it is common to see physical and psychological fatigue occurring, and for these kids and these adolescents to be needing more sleep so that their physical body can be repairing and their mind can be repairing. By the time we're seeing individuals hit about ages 13 to 18, we're seeing that there's still a need for at least 8 to 10 hours of sleep, although we try to, at that point in time, convert them to just the typical adult sleep, with the average being 8 hours. Now, one of the biggest questions that comes in is asking, well, why is it that my teens seem to be not getting tired and they want to stay up so late, but then they're so exhausted in the morning? Are they lazy that I can't get them out of bed? They're sleeping till 10 a.m. or noon. One of the bits of research that has shown is that we've seen that circadian rhythms do shift over the course of a lifetime. And if we look historically, that age group of those teenagers, say around 13, 14 years old through the early 20s, were typically, in previous centuries, those were the individuals in the tribes, in the villages, that were the most strong, that were there to be able to protect the village. They were the ones that were going out and doing the majority of the work. And so from an evolutionary standpoint, we would want those individuals that were the strongest to be awake when the vulnerable were sleeping. So I would see babies going to bed earlier. Also, we see as we age, individuals starting to become tired earlier. And so that circadian rhythm actually shifted so that those teens were not feeling tired when it first got dark, and they could stay awake longer to be awake to protect the village while the more vulnerable were sleeping. And also that then would impact their sleep drive, so that they would be able to sleep later into their morning hours when the sun was up. So even though light would trigger the cues to wake up, that they would have more of that sleep inertia to be able to push through it, so that they could be getting the full amount of sleep that they need, but they're sleeping when the more vulnerable are awake to protect them, and it's easier to protect when it's light out. So if you don't believe me, if you think about the fact of our circadian rhythm not just having an impact on our sleep, but also on food and other things, think about college towns. When are their restaurants and bars open versus retirement communities with the early bird specials? So there really is something from a research standpoint as to why your teens are getting tired later, around 11, 12, 1 in the morning, why they're wanting to sleep in later. It also doesn't mean, though, that they don't need to get more sleep, because many times we will see them being fatigued because we're not giving them enough sleep as well. Be well.